Trails series or Tales series? Which one do you like more? Okay, here's my answer. I'm gonna go with the Tales series. I've answered this before. I'm gonna go with the Tales series simply because I've been playing Tales games since like for the past 20 years or so. At least 18 years. My first one was Tales of Legendia and it's still my favorite. So, and Trails, I've only been playing them for like 15, no, probably less, like 10 years, right? My first one was Trails in the Sky. And I didn't become a fan of the series right away until Trails in the Sky second chapter, which I played like 7 years ago or 6 years ago, and that's when it hit me. That's when I became a diehard. So, because I've been playing the Tales games for way more, I think I'm gonna go with Tales. Besides, there are more Tales games than Trails nowadays, and all the Trails games are connected. You play one game and you play, I don't know, the Trails in the Sky trilogy, and you feel like you only played like one game instead of 3. Same with Cold Steel, you know what I mean? So, and Tales, most of them are standalone. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Tales, man. I think I'm a bigger Tales fan than Trails fan. But those two series for me are like, man, on the same spot. Like, it's a tie between them. I really like both of them. Were you a fan of Rayman? I wasn't. I played a PS1 game a long time ago and it beat the crap out of me and I gave up. And then I played Rayman Legends on the PlayStation 4 and it was better. I need to go back to it to decide if I'm a fan of Rayman. But right now, I'm not. How strongly will you recommend Wild Arms 3? I know you rank the series, but I'm asking about this game in particular. Thanks. How strongly will I recommend it? Not that strongly. The game didn't age masterfully, you know. It got some kind of upscaled graphics port on the PS4, which is a good version to play of it, by the way. That's the version I recommend. But I don't know, it didn't age very well. It didn't age poorly, but it didn't age very well. It had some dated controls and movement in the interface that today feel sluggish and kind of boring. But on the other hand, the story is marvelous. Virginia is a phenomenal protagonist. The music is untouchable. And it's a balanced game. It's not a hard game, nor is it an easy game. You're not gonna find yourself grinding that much. You may have a few issues with a few boss battles and that's it. So it's pretty much a balanced game. So I do recommend it. But more like strongly recommend it. Well, yeah, it's a great game. I mean, it's a cheap game, both on PS2 and PS4, the digital version. So pick it up, man. It's definitely a must play. Is the Grandia HD collection worth it? Or should I emulate the originals instead? Okay, you know what? I think it's worth it because they look beautiful and fantastic, both of them. Especially on the Switch. But I never finished a single one of those. I only finished the original games. And I think it's best if you find yourself a great emulator that can upscale the graphics, and they're gonna look just as beautiful. And it's free. So there's your answer. Which Final Fantasy do you think has the best soundtrack? Okay, damn. Obviously, to me personally, it's a contest between 7, 8, and 9. 6 is phenomenal, but I gotta stick to 7, 8, and 9. The real competition is between 7 and 9. Damn. 9. 9. 2 reasons why. One, because I like 9 more than 7. Simple as that, my favorite Final Fantasy game. And 2, because I just find some of the themes more memorable in 9. But 7, man, I mean, you can't. I mean, it's just 7 is a masterpiece of a soundtrack. Fuck, man, what a tough question. 9, I'm sticking with 9. 9. There you go. Yeah, 9 is a beautiful, beautiful soundtrack. And it has one of the best regular battle themes of all time. The regular battle theme is like, that's the best Final Fantasy battle theme ever, in my opinion. Okay, I noticed that PS2 gaming isn't fun anymore because of the outrageous prices of the games. Well, yeah, there's still a lot of PS2 games that are dirt cheap, but let's face it, most of its JRPGs are up there already. They aren't insane yet. You can still find a lot for like 40, 50, $60. But yeah, PS2 games are starting to get there. PS2 RPGs. But you know, some of the really good ones are still kind of cheap, kind of affordable. Valkyrie Profile 2 is kind of affordable, still in the $30 to $40 range, not too bad. Odin Sphere is dirt cheap. I know the preferred version to play of that game is the remaster, but if you don't have access to the remaster, pick up the PS2 version, it's dirt cheap. We were just talking about Wild Arms 3, worth playing in there. Phantasy Star Universe, it's not that phenomenal, but it's a great game. The first one. Yeah! I mean, it's not that expensive yet, but definitely Xbox games are cheaper than PS2 and GameCube, especially GameCube, right? So yeah. But yeah, it's still fun. It's just a lot of PS2 early games haven't aged pretty well. They could use a remaster. Suikoden 3, 4, and 5. 5 is still pretty fun to play. 3 is not that much, didn't age very well. But yeah, I think the Suikoden games are kind of expensive already. 4 is not that expensive, but yeah, 3 and 5. 5 is crazy fucking expensive nowadays. Probably $150, $200 range. Damn, right? But I think there's still a lot of fun to be found when it comes to collecting and playing PS2 games nowadays. Just not as much as before. Do you think the countdown in the .hack website is for a new game or a collection of the first 4 games, like they did with... Somebody told me before that we will probably get a brand new game, because CyberConnect 2 said that they were interested in making a new game and they were trying to work on a new one. So chances are it's a new game. But either way, I'm excited because the 4 games desperately need a remaster. Speaking about PS2 games, you know, parts 3 and 4, especially 4, are outrageously expensive. 4 is what, like $400 already? Part 4? So yeah, they could greatly benefit from a remaster, especially because they didn't age that well. They aren't that fun to play, honestly. They kinda were back in the day, but then GU came along and the battle system was greatly improved. Like, what a difference, man. You play those first hack games and then you play hack GU, and the battle mechanics are like aeons apart. So yeah, a remaster is the least Namco can do for the original 4 games. But chances are we are getting a new game, not exactly a remaster of 4 games, because Bandai fucking Namco. But who knows, hopefully they prove me wrong. I was never expecting a hack GU remaster. Never in a million years would I ever imagined we were gonna get a remaster of those games, and we did, on Switch and PS4 and Steam. So those 4 games, man, yeah, I mean, that's just a no-brainer, Bandai Namco. This is from Illusion of Gaia, right? Amazing song. Do you believe Jesus Christ is the real Messiah? Thanks for asking, man. I'm an agnostic, so it doesn't matter what I believe. I believe in the possibility of him being the real Messiah, but I also believe in the possibility of him not having existed at all. So yeah, I'm an agnostic. I believe in possibilities and probabilities, but I don't know. Nobody in this planet has anything for certain. There aren't any facts, like real scientific facts of anything religious type. So it's all a matter of choosing to believe, and that's it. Do you think the success of Super Mario RPG Remake will finally make Chrono Trigger Remake a reality? Here's the thing. Nintendo has the rights of Super Mario RPG. Chrono Trigger rights belong to Square Enix, so we got two different companies here. I don't think Square Enix is gonna look at the success of Super Mario RPG Remake and say, oh, it's time to make Chrono Trigger. Why would they do that? I think they need a better reason, but let's face it, Square Enix has been taking forever to come back to those games. But last year we saw the Chrono Cross remaster. We didn't get a Chrono Trigger remaster, did we? So I guess that means that they are probably considering something. They're probably considering to do something with Chrono Trigger. I don't know what, but something. Something needs to be done. I think most people would love to see an HD 2D remake of Chrono Trigger. Like what they did with Star Ocean 2. Hopefully they'll do that. Because that's like the best course of action for that game. A Chrono Trigger remaster? No, not really. We don't need one. Chrono Trigger remake with HD 2D graphics. Well, I guess a remaster is the least they could do. Just fucking port it on the Switch and that's it. Right? But the ideal outcome is what I'm saying, man. Trust me. HD 2 remake, Chrono Trigger, all modern systems, and that's gonna sell fucking millions. And they know that. So I don't know what the hell they're taking, why the hell are they taking so long to do something like that? They know Chrono Trigger is like the most popular JRPG in existence of all time, right? Well, although Persona 5 is getting there. I call Persona 5 as the new Chrono Trigger of nowadays. Like everybody compares every single RPG to it. Just like they were comparing every single RPG to Chrono Trigger before. Now it's Persona 5. Everything gets compared to it. So, whatever the case, I think Chrono Trigger HD 2D, that's like, come on, make it happen, Square fucking Enix, please. They might be afraid that they're ruining the popularity somehow of Chrono Trigger. If they do an HD 2D remake for Chrono Trigger, I don't think they'll ruin the popularity at all whatsoever. Unless they fuck it up and turn into an action RPG. What would you think about a Tales of Legendia remake? Yes, please. It's my favorite Tales game, but it hasn't aged that well. I've beaten that game 3 times, by the way, on the PS2. Amazing game. Yeah, a remake will be great, but Bandai Namco, it seems to me they only care about remastering Tales of Symphonia and developing fucking DLCs for Tales of Arise. Do you prefer funny JRPGs or serious JRPGs? Serious JRPGs, far more. Most of my favorite JRPGs of all time are serious games. I love some comedy and some funny dumb ones, but I prefer serious. Do I think Valkyrie Profile needs a remake? It got some kind of upscale graphics treatment on 4K on PS5 and 4 last year, I believe. It looks fantastic in there. But yeah, it could use a remake. But we all know what's gonna happen if they make a remake of that game. It's gonna be an action RPG. Half the world's gonna hate it. Mixed reviews. And Square Enix is gonna be like, it's just turn-based RPGs don't work, man, because imbeciles like Tetsuya Nomura and Yoshi P run the fucking company nowadays, and they're fucking idiots. So, I don't want a Valkyrie Profile remake. No. Who do you think is the most overrated JRPG character? Okay, and who do I think is the most underrated character? The most overrated JRPG character of all time is fucking Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Like, holy shit, man. Holy shit. I can't believe it. That game, I mean, that guy, he's like the most overrated character in everything, in all of all time. And the most underrated... Well, I can give you a list of like 2,000 of those. How about Chris Lightfellow from Suikoden 3? The game itself is underrated, so there you go. Are the Final Fantasy 13 games really that bad? No, I don't think they're bad games, but they aren't great to me. I didn't like them. They have their fans, you know, they sold millions. So there's gotta be a couple of million people out there, you know, at least who love those games. Yeah, they're pretty divisive games, man, but I didn't like them. I didn't like the story, the characters, how the gameplay was handled, especially in the first two games. The inclusion of these fucking quick time events during battle, I don't know. I guess they're alright nowadays, they're more alright, but back then they were kind of like, why are you doing this? And the combat was like an evolution of Final Fantasy 12. Still kind of turn-based, yes, at least for the first two games. The third game was pretty much an action RPG. But, I don't know, there's something about the atmosphere, the ambience, there's something that rubs me the wrong way about those games. But I don't think they're bad games. I don't like Monster Hunter. No, man, I played Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii. That I sold to Oscar, actually. He has my copy of Monster Hunter 3. I played it and I was like, no. So I sold my copy to him. I think that's how it went. That was a long time ago. And then I played one on the PSP that I sold to, maybe not to him. Freedom, yeah, no, couldn't get into it. And then I finally played Generations, I think, on the 3DS. It was better, you know, but I couldn't get into it in the end. The only Monster Hunter games I like are Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2. But they're also a bit in the monster collecting and training side of things, so I didn't finish a single one of them. So not a fan of Monster Hunter. It's not as much of a grind fest as in Octopath 1, says Dawn. Glenn, yeah, I've been noticing that. Whatever the case, you know, it's a game where you want to beat every chapter of every character, right? And to do that, you need to grind them because inactive party members, once again, just like in the first game, don't gain experience. That pisses me off. Because it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this character's chapter now, and he's fucking level 1. Okay, I know that all I gotta do is put the guy in my party and with my over-level party and then do some grinding, but I mean, still, it's just a pet peeve that I have. Okay, I hate that. Why aren't my inactive party members getting experience? I guess it makes sense, but it shouldn't. They all should get experience, so I don't have to grind them. And if I get to a town and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play this character's chapter right now, but the required level is 15, I want my character to be on that level already, so I won't have to spend a few hours grinding. But thanks for letting me know, Glenn.